So what is a cursor? So I will say it's used to pinpoint the data stored temporarily in the memory. Or what is the use case? Uh, Helpful when we want to of- so helpful when you want to perform computations, when you require to perform computations which requires iterations. Okay. So when I say iterations, that is row by row processing. So when you want to have a row by row processing, you'll be using cursors for that, right? So what cursor does, it basically displays only one row at a time. So now let's say what are the steps involved in cursor steps. So first thing is that you will create, let me write it, create or declare the cursor. Okay. Second, you will allocate the cursor slash open the cursor. That's the second step. Third step is fetch the data using the cursor. Fourth point is then you have to deallocate the cursor. Or not deallocate, I'll say close the cursor. And then fifth is what? You have to, one second, fetch the data using the cursor. You have allocated, so you have to deallocate or close the cursor. You have opened over here, you have closed over here, which is deallocate. And so we have created a cursor, we have opened the allocated the cursor, we have fetched the data. We will close the cursor, and there's one more step to it. What was that step? Yeah, close and deallocate, right? So then we'll deallocate. Now, see, how we are going to do this is I will declare a cursor for a specific data. Okay, so that data will be stored in the memory for temporary purpose because I require that data to perform some computation. So now I am saying I have a data in the memory for which I have created a cursor. Now I need to pinpoint that cursor to specifically to that particular data set. Right? If I don't, then it can pinpoint to any random data set present in the memory for temporary purpose. Okay? Then I will, once I have pinpointed to the data set, what I will do is I will fetch the data. And once I fetch the data, perform the required calculations, I will close the cursor. When I say close the cursor, it will remove the link between the data set and the cursor. So cursor still exists in the memory, but it is not linked to any data set. When I deallocate it, it basically deallocating the cursor is simply deleting the cursor. It does not exist anymore. Allocate और open अगर आप साथ में लिखते हो तो pinpoint delocate अलग-अलग स्टेप लिखे हो जब आप क्लोज कर रहे हो तो अपने आप delocate भी नहीं होता. That's how the step is. So I have just said open, right? That's what allocating is, pinpointing it. When you say allocate or open, it is pinpointing. Close and deallocate are two different things. So deallocate means over here deleting the cursor, and close means that you are deleting the link between the data set stored in the RAM and the cursor. Okay. So let's see that how we are going to do that. First step is what? Declare a cursor. Yeah. In computation can be anything. Like for example, what you want to do over here is, for example, let's say there's an e-commerce platform. So there are there are various steps which needs to be checked in series or sequence. So first we will check the inventory, whether inventory exists or not. If it does not, you will fill up the second step is you will fill up the stock. So these are happening what in row by row processing needs to happen over here. Then you will basically, once the stock is present, you will place the order. Once the order is, you will place the order, and basically you will link that to the payment gateways. So there in when you want to place an order in an e-commerce platform, so there are certain steps which happens in the backend which needs to be checked in sequence. So for that it requires row by row processing. So for that purpose you'll be using cursors. Okay. Again, I'm telling you it's a data engineering thing.
So is this used in all the SQL platforms, or is this major concept about DB2, mainframe
Sorry,
DB2?
Bhavya.
So this cursor is like for all the SQL platforms, every SQL server, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a concept I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you used to create a table. Okay? So we don't create a table over here, we declare a cursor. So I will say declare. Then in create, after create, we used to write table and then table name. But here what we will do, we will say declare and then we will write the cursor name. Let's say cursor name is CR1, CR underscore 1 is the name of the cursor I'm giving. And then you will use the keyword cursor. Then you will say for, like, okay, for which data set you want to define the cursor. So I am saying create a cursor for, let's say, select star from TBL. Yeah, I'll select that. Bootcamp name. Select star from TBL order. Okay. So I am declaring a cursor for the orders data set. Done. Command completed successfully. So that means that this cursor is created now. This cursor and this data set exist in the RAM or memory. Now the second step I need to do is I need to allocate this cursor. So I will say open and the name of the cursor CR underscore 1. That's the second step. So once I do that, it will allocate this cursor to this data set. Execute. Done. It is allocated. What's the third step? Fetch data using the cursor. So when I say cursor, it's a forward moving cursor only. Okay? So I will say fetch. Here you won't write the select statement. You will say fetch next from cursor. So what is the name of the cursor? CR underscore 1. Once I do that, okay. If you see this is my data set, table order. This is my data set. Right? Now, currently when I allocate the cursor, my cursor is where? At the headers. When I say fetch next from CR1, it will fetch what? First row, which is Rick. Then after Jane, after that Joseph, after that Thomas. Row by row processing. Okay? So let me execute this. So it will give me what? First row, which is Rick Hansen. Done. Rick Hansen. If I execute one more time, it should give me the second row. Jane. Then Joseph. So it is what? Row by row processing. Once I have done that, then what? Close the cursor. So I will say close CR underscore 1. I have basically delinked the dataset and the cursor. Now dataset is also there, cursor is also there in the memory, but they are not linked. So now when I fetch the data using this cursor, it is saying cursor is not open. That means cursor is not linked. Correct? So I have to do what? I have to link it and then fetch it. Now, but that means the cursor still exists. So I need to delete it. How can I delete it? I will say delete the cursor. So I will say deallocate CR underscore 1 is the name of the cursor I have given and done. Okay? Now my cursor does not exist. Cursor CR underscore 1 does not exist. Okay? So when I now fetch the data using CR1, it is saying what? A cursor with the name CR underscore 1 does not exist because I have deleted that. But when I just did close, it still exists, but it was not linked to any data set present in the RAM or memory. Okay? So when you have tasks like when you need to particularly check the conditions in sequence, or when you want to do row by row processing, for that you'll be using the cursors. Okay? Because it displays one row at a time. and it is a forward moving cursor only. So let me write it over here. Forward moving cursor only. When I say forward moving cursor, that means once I have jumped to the from the headers, when I have jumped to the first row, after that I cannot go back to the headers. Or from the first row, if I have jumped to the second row, I cannot go back to the first row again. Okay. We can change the details also. Ideally, what needs to be done is like when you fetch the data, yes, you can do that. But again, for that, you have to, extra code. Ideally, what you do, you write the cursors inside the TCL commands where you write your calculations and all of that. Okay. So we will see a part of it, but abhi just itna clear hai? Guys, clear with the cursor part? Without closing, can you deallocate the cursor without closing? I think it should be possible. We can check. So I need to declare it. I need to open it. And now I will deallocate it. Okay? Yeah, it is possible. So by this extra step of close, so these are the steps performed. Let's say that cursor still exists. So what happens in organization generally? The use case of cursor is, let's say, if there's a centered point where all the data sets are there, right? And you are working on a current data set to which you have allocated a particular cursor. Okay? So no other user which wants to work on the same data set would be able to work on that data set because you are currently allocated to that particular data set. Your cursor is allocated. So even if you forget to delete it, so the settings are such that in the organizations, after certain period of time, it will be automatically deallocated. But this is how the syntax is. So let's say when I close the cursor, let's say I require it after some time, right? Not immediately, I don't want to delete that. So I can simply just open it. That's the use case. Yeah. So let's say we execute this command before close that, but not real. But again, if we start fetching the data, will it be starting from the sequence or will it start from the beginning? Start from the beginning because you have closed the link. Okay. Declare not correct. Directly open CR1 से नहीं कर सकते. If your link is closed. तो delete. Delocate में delete हो रहा है. तो मैं delete तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ cursor. So deleting is simply deleting the existence. Deallocating is that you are not a part of that data set. You're not pinpointing to that data set anymore. आपने close CR1 किया, link हो गया बीच में. cursor है उसका. हाँ. तो अगर आपने बताया कि अगर एक centralized server है जिससे ना मतलब star data set हो गया ना, तो वो star data set से ना जो होते multiple data sets जो connected है. अगर मैं star data set पे मतलब main server पे अगर मैं लगा देता हूँ ये cursor. Server पे नहीं होता. It is on the data set. Okay, data set is also connected data. So you declare cursor for whatever you mention over here. You have to mention the data sets over here for which you are declaring the cursor. But sir, star data sets से ना जो वही होगा ना star main data set उससे connected adjacent data sets. No, it is not like that. There are multiple tables, no. So you are declaring a cursor for a particular data set. If you're saying for multiple data sets, then you have to have it over here. So there can be different cursors, either for either they can be different cursors for different data sets, or you can mention over here what data sets for which data set you're basically declaring the cursor. So it can be joined or something. So you're mentioning it before allocating it. क्या connect होगा? So it is mainly to check the conditions in sequence. ठीक है, row by row processing है, उसके लिए है ये main. It is not for changing the I'll say for changing the keys or data types, not for that. It is for computation purpose, for certain conditions to check which are to be checked in sequence. ठीक है? Cursor can be declared for a database. No, for that we have triggers. For that we have triggers. Okay? Yeah. So clear till this point how a forward moving cursor works. Okay? क्या? Fetch from CR1. So by default it is forward moving only, na? So it is taking next only. Okay? Which one? Okay. So first thing you do is you declare a cursor for a particular data set. Then you basically this cursor is declared and this data set is in the RAM, right? So you link this cursor to this data set. You have to open it. to establish a link between the cursor and a data set. After that, you fetch the data from the using the cursor. Okay? And then once the data is fetched, so this is just fetching. Okay? I'll tell you the use case of it. This is just fetching. After that, if your work is done, what you will do, you will close the connection. Once the connection is closed, after that, you will delete the cursor which you have declared. Yes. Even if you don't do it, like after a certain time period in organizations, it is automatically done. Because what happens is, let's say, even if you don't close the cursor, don't close the connection, someone waiting in queue won't be able to work on that particular data set. Okay.
यहाँ पे डेटाबेस सिक्योरिटी लिखा रहता है उस डैशबोर्ड में कहाँ पे दिख शो होता है पर्सन जैसे आपने कल बताया था व्यू के लिए
So database
स्टोर प्रोसीजर
and bootcamp made is. So I have to check for the new functions, assemblies, sequences, maybe security. Let's go. Programmability it is not available. Storage. I think it is not visible in the database because ultimately it is deleted after a certain period of time.
अभी तो आपको एक्चुअली फिर से बताना पड़ेगा आपने डिलीट कर दिया अगर आप बनाने के बाद
Even if I do that, declare it. Okay, so I should refresh. So ultimately I should have a folder for that. So assemblies, types. I have to check that thing, but I don't think it exists. It is showed in any of these feature folders available over here. I'll check this thing and let you know after the break. This thing, but it is a database object. Okay, cursor is also it's a database object. Okay. So there's another version of cursor we have is which is known as scroll cursor, because in the forward moving cursor we were not able to jump backward and forward, like upward and downward direction, right? Back and forth we were not able to do. So that can be done using scroll cursor. Again, the syntax remains the same. I will first step is what I will declare a cursor. So I will say declare cursor. Cursor name is that's cr_2 and scroll cursor is the keyword. For which data set? Let's say select start from TBL order. I am declaring a cursor for this. The next thing I'm going to do is what open cr_2 open the cursor. What's the third step? Currently my cursor is where is my cursor currently?
Yes.
At the headers. Okay, so I will say fetch next from cr_2. What it will give me in the output? First row, Rick Hansen. Okay. When I say next, I'm saying fetch. Now my cursor is currently where? It is on the first row. Now I will say fetch relative to from cr_2. So when I say relative to, from the current position, it will take a jump of 2. Okay? So it will give me return me which row? Currently my cursor is at first row. Okay? Jump of 2, third row, which will be Joseph. So it will give me what in the output? Joseph C. When I say fetch relative -2 from cr_2, it will take me back to where? First row. Okay. Then I'm saying fetch last from cr_2. It will take me where? Last row of this data set. So kth is the last row of this data set. If you check over here, see, kth is the last row of this data set. So when I say fetch last, it will directly take me to the last row of this data set. Fetch first from cr_2. It will take me to the first row of the data set. See, Rick Hansen. Directly it will take me to the first row. let's say if I have a particular row number in mind to which I directly want to jump. Okay, so I can say fetch absolute. I can say 5 from cr underscore 2. It will take me to the fifth row. Let me check what is the fifth row. This one. So when it is directly taking me to that particular row number. So
सर इसका इंडेक्सिंग नंबर बनी है
yes, it is basically row by row processing. No? One row at a time in the output. Right. One row at a time. You can say -10, -5, anything. Okay.
Uh,
So with the
Ashish, can you explain the relative one again?
okay. So currently your cursor is where? Okay, let me say first. Okay, first. Fetch first from CR. Currently it is at the first row.
Yes.
When I say relative to, that means my cursor currently is at the first row. Correct. Relative of 2 it will be what? Jump of 2. So it will be at the third row. What is the third row in the table order? It is Joseph. So when I say currently my cursor is at the first row, when I say relative of 2, it is returning me the taking a jump of 2 and returning me the third row. When I say -2, that means it will take me back to the it will take a jump of 2 in the reverse direction. So it will take me back to the first row again. If I say minus, now currently my cursor is where? At the first row. If I say relative of -1, what it will return me? Headers. My cursor will jump to the headers. Clear?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now understand how this is working. Then I will close the cursor. So close cr underscore 2. And then I will say fifth is deallocate cr underscore 2. Done. Okay. Any doubt in the scroll cursor part, in the syntax part of the scroll cursor? So whatever was the limitation of cursor, that is overcome by scroll cursor. Huh? Absolute is basically taking you to that particular row number. Yeah, if you say absolute of 10, it will take you to the 10th row. One what? More than one cursor in the for a particular data. So we can try that, but I don't think that is possible. Otherwise, it will be in queue. So let's say this exists already. Okay? And what I will do, I will say another cursor over here. And I can say cr underscore 3. And for the same data set, I'm saying, yeah, we can do that. These are different cursors. Correct. It will be in queue while fetching the data. Yeah, पहले ये जब close होगा, so I think this cursor is different for the which you have created. So when I say this is okay, one second. What I've done is I have opened it. Okay, let's say I've established the link. Let me open this also. So I will say open cr underscore 3. Okay, it is done. Now if I say fetch next from cr underscore 3, it is fetching. I think one at a time, but ideally it should not work. You cannot like for that particular. Let's say ये fetch हो गया यहाँ पे. If I fetch this also. Next from CR to it should show me rec. Yeah. एक साथ तो doesn't make any sense. Ideally it should not work like that. I'll check this thing. Okay, what is the reason for this? Okay, why is it working like that? Ideally it should not. Okay, I'll check this thing. Okay. Any doubt in the syntax part till this point? Let me close this.
Sir, scroll cursor.
That is the point. Na? It should not happen, but it should not happen. But I'll understand the reason why it happened.
Sir, cursor, sir.
Because you cannot work on the same centralized data, multiple users at the same time. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
scroll cursor.
Scroll cursor के बाद क्या?
Scroll cursor. तो W
So जो limitation थी forward moving cursor की कि it used to give only next row. But if I want to go back to the previous row or to a particular row in mind, so for that I am using the scroll cursor. So I can say next row or relative of 2, that is take a jump of 2, then take a jump of 2 in the opposite direction, then fetch the last row directly, first row or the fifth row. Absolutely. Okay. The guy is clear. Till this point, it is clear. So let's attempt a question then in the cursor part. Okay, what I want to do over here is I want to create two variables जो कि reference number और sales का data store करेंगे. ठीक है? I want to create a cursor to hold the result of the query that retrieves the ID and sales from the order table. I need to retrieve the ID and the sales data, that is reference number from the order table, and store it into the variable which is reference number and sales. Okay, and I need to print that information. So cursor is also useful when, say, let's say you are provided some data source and you're not provided with the headers of the tables or headers of the columns in a table. So for that, simply you can allocate a cursor to that particular data set and just fetch the row by row. Okay, this one. I'm saying, let's say you are not given the name of the columns, right? You are just given the data set and the cursor, and you need to basically get the get all the records from that particular data set. So you need to fetch that data. So for that, you have to use cursor. Row by row processing you need to do. Okay. So let's say what I want to do. First, I will declare a cursor for the reference number and sales. That's the first step. So I will say declare cursor name is, let's say, cr underscore again 5. I'm saying. Then the cursor, I'm saying cursor, and then for which data set, select star from table order as a dot. I just need reference number and a dot sales. Okay. For this, I will define the cursor. Okay. Cursor is defined. What's the next step? Open the cursor. Okay. I have pinpointed the cursor. What's the next step? Fetching. Fetch what? For that, I need to first define the variables in which I need to store the data which I'm fetching. Correct? So I will say, how can I declare a variable? I will say declare. And I will say, how can I give the name? A single at the rate. And I'm saying, let's say ID. The data type should be, what is the data type of reference number? Let's say varchar. Max is 20, comma. Next is at the rate of amount. And the data type is float. Clear? What I'm doing, I have declared the two variables. Oh, so this will be, after that, what I need to do? Fetch the data. So I will say fetch next from what? cr underscore 5. Whatever I'm fetching, I need to store that into somewhere. So I will say into at the rate of ID, which is my reference number in the same order, and at the rate of amount. Done. Okay. But when I do that, see, if I just execute this, it is showing me an error. The scalar variable ID is not defined. So when I execute this, I have to execute along with this declare variables. Okay. When I do that, see, command completed successfully. It is not showing me the output because these are stored in ID and amount. Okay. Now, the point here is that it will return one row at a time. So what I want to do is I want to process the row by row, and then I want to display all the rows at once in the output. Okay. So for that, I have to use a loop. See, if I say Excel, for that I have to use a loop. आई विल बी यूजिंग अ while loop for that. ठीक है. So अगर मैं syntax की बात करूं, so what I will say, I will define something. Let's say I equals to, this is the Python syntax which I'll be writing. So I'll say I equals to 1. ठीक है. Now I will say while I is less than 10. What I want to do is I want to say print. I am saying print I. Okay, 1 second. Guys, let me know when the screen is not shared. So I've done this. I'm saying I equals to 1. Then I'm saying while I is less than 10, print I. So what it will do? What it will do? It will print I 9 times. Or it will print I infinite times. It is never ending. Because I is always less than 10. So it will be infinite loop, never ending loop. While में क्या होता है, जब तक ये condition true है, तब तक it will keep running. As soon as this condition becomes false, loop break हो जाएगा. So what it will do, I equals to 1, yes, I is less than 10, it will print I 1. Then again, it will check I is less than 1, I equals to 1, I is less than 10, yes, again it will print I 1, 1, 1. तो ये 1 है, infinite times आएगा, never ending loop है ये. So what I will do over here, I will say, then I को print करो, उसके बाद क्या करो, I equals to I plus 1. I को 1 से इंक्रीमेंट कर दो. ठीक है. तो अब यहाँ पे क्या होगा, फर्स्ट इट विल से वेदर आई इज लेस देन 10 और नॉट. यस, तो आई प्रिंट कर देंगे, आई हो गया 1. फिर यहाँ पे आई की वैल्यू क्या हो गई, आई की वैल्यू क्या हो गई, आई में +1 कर दिया. सो इट विल टेक द आई की वैल्यू क्या हो गई यहाँ पे 2. इज 2 लेस देन 10, यस, इट विल प्रिंट आई 2. देन इट विल ऐड 1, तो आई विल बिकम 3. सो टिल दिस इट विल प्रिंट टिल ओवर 9. जब यहाँ पे आई 10 होगा एंड आई की वैल्यू यहाँ पे स्टोर होगी, इट विल चेक वेदर 10 इज लेस देन 10. नो, फॉल्स, तो मेरा लूप ब्रेक हो जाएगा. तो मेरा आउटपुट सिर्फ ये आएगा आउटपुट में 1 to 9. तो दिस इज व्हाट व्हाइल लूप इज. ठीक है. अब i इक्वल्स टू 1 मैंने कैसे डिफाइन करा है सीक्वल में, I have said fetch next from cr underscore 5 into @ of id comma @of amount. When I've done this, इसका मतलब क्या है, i equals to 1, फर्स्ट रो है ना. i equals to 1 है ना यहाँ पे, तो आई एम एट द फर्स्ट रो ओवर हियर, यस और नो. अब यहाँ पे मेरे को कोई कंडीशन देनी है ना, जैसे आप मैंने कंडीशन दी है वेदर i इज लेस देन 10 और नॉट, करेक्ट. तो यहाँ पे मैं कंडीशन दूंगा कि जब तक मेरी लास्ट रो नहीं आती तब तक कीप प्रिंटिंग, करेक्ट. तो उसके लिए आई विल से while लूप while, एंड यहाँ पे एक वेरिएबल है, ग्लोबल वेरिएबल विच इज नोन एज @fetch अंडरस्कोर स्टेटस. ठीक है, इक्वल्स टू 0. ये मेरी कंडीशन होगी. व्हेन आई से fetch अंडरस्कोर स्टेटस, @ मींस ग्लोबल वेरिएबल. ठीक है, सिंगल @ लोकल वेरिएबल्स. व्हेन आई से @fetch अंडरस्कोर स्टेटस इक्वल्स टू 0, तो इस कीवर्ड का मतलब ये है, अगर इसकी वैल्यू 0 है दैट मींस कि नेक्स्ट रो है वो एग्जिस्ट करती है. अगर इस fetch अंडरस्कोर स्टेटस की वैल्यू इज एनी अदर वैल्यू एक्सेप्ट 0, -1 -10 1 10 2 3 20, एनी अदर वैल्यू एक्सेप्ट 0, दैट मींस कि देयर इज नो रो आफ्टर दैट. ठीक है, दैट्स द लास्ट रो. अगर रो एग्जिस्ट करती है तो इट विल रिटर्न 0. इफ द रो डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट इट विल रिटर्न एनी अदर वैल्यू एक्सेप्ट 0. इस सिंपल सा मतलब इसका ये है. तो मेरी कंडीशन ये हो गई. उसके बाद क्या करना है, प्रिंट आई. सो आई विल से प्रिंट क्या करूंगा मैं, लेट्स से उसको प्रिंट करना है ना मीनिंगफुल, सो मैं उसको कॉन्कैट कर देता हूँ. लेट्स से, ठीक है, कॉन्कैट एंड कॉन्कैट अंडरस्कोर ws, आई कैन से सेपरेटर में हाइफन दे देता हूँ, एंड @of id एंड @of amount. क्या होगा, ये जो फर्स्ट रो है इट विल चेक कि रो एग्जिस्ट करती है कि नहीं है, डेटा है कि नहीं है रो में, है तो 0 रिटर्न करेगा. तो कंडीशन क्या हो गई, ये ट्रू हो गई. उसके बाद क्या करेगी, ट्रू हो गई तो ये प्रिंट कर देगी आउटपुट में. उसके बाद मेरे को क्या करना है, I need to do I equals to I plus 1, correct. So that I can do using what, I will say fetch next from cr underscore 5 into @ of id @ of amount. तो ये क्या होगा, it is acting as what, I equals to I plus 1, I की वैल्यू क्या थी 1, 1 plus 1 2. So it will now see whether the second row has data or not. if it has the data, that means it fetch underscore status will return the value 0. 0 equals to 0. So true. And then it will do what? It will concatenate the data for the second row. Clear? Okay. Guys, any doubt in the while loop over here? That's a global variable, which is already present in SQL. Which one? Okay, let me do it over here. You will understand. Okay. This is what I equals to 1. Now I will say while double at the rate fetch underscore status. That's a global variable already defined in SQL. इसकी वैल्यू अगर 0 है, that means कि जो ये रो है इसमें डेटा एग्जिस्ट करता है. ठीक है. Then I will say अब यहाँ पे क्या होता था Python में we have a while के बाद we have indentation and all of that. There is no such thing in SQL. ठीक है. So you have to define कि what task you want to perform. So जब SQL में define करते हैं कि हमें क्या task चाहिए आउटपुट में, क्या आउटपुट चाहिए, उसको हम कहाँ पे लिखते हैं begin और end के अंदर. So I will say begin and I will say end. ठीक है. So क्या चाहिए? I will say print and I will say concat underscore with separator and I will say hyphen at the rate of id comma at the rate of amount. इतना क्लियर है? उसके बाद क्या? I equals y plus 1. So I need to go to the next row. So fetch next from cr underscore 5. So what will happen? This loop will keep on running until it basically until what? It basically it prints the last row and then for the next row it jumps to it sees that there is no data in that particular row. So यहाँ पे it will return any random value except 0. So it will become false. तो वहाँ पे loop break हो जाएगा. ठीक है? Okay. So what I need to do now, I need to execute this with declare. ठीक है? Once I do that, see क्या हो गया यहाँ पे? Okay. Into at the rate of id comma at the rate of amount. Now it should give me the correct output. Okay. Yeah, it will be 0. Why is it not returning me the output? I think this will come in the begin. Output finish होगा था.
मैंने तो बोला था एंट्री 30 है.
Yes. Print this. Is this a function? Let me check now. So it is getting executed but not displaying the output. This should be in the beginning. This should be in the beginning, ideally. Okay, let me just close the cursor and do it again. Yeah, I think it was some overlapping which happened. But yeah, this is how I'm getting my output. ठीक है?
Ashish,
Yeah.
I just want to confirm, like, this will be done like by data engineers. This is this is not the part data analyst handle, and only for interview we need to understand this.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So even in the interviews, do they ask us to write some kind of code for these parts, or it's just
Uh,
theoretical for
Yeah,
when it
it's
comes to
mostly
interviews
theoretical,
and
but yes, you should know the basic syntax at least.
okay.
Okay. Guys, clear? So this is done. I have print the information in as a meaningful message. Let's say I have concatenated these two. And what if I want to display any message? I can do that also inside the print statement or function, whatever it is, right? Any doubt in the while loop over here?
The fetch status overcome maybe
Fetch is basically fetch next is basically to move to the next row. I equals I plus 1 करना होता है ना, to change the count, not the count. I will say to change the row, to go to the next iteration or go to the next row. You have to use fetch next.
जैसे फिटिंग हुआ है तो उसके बाद में तो तो बाहर निकल जाए
हाँ, जब लास्ट रो आएगी तो ये प्रिंट कर देगा. उसके बाद जब लास्ट के बाद वाली रो आएगी which is there is no data, there is no row, so it will be any other value, any random number except 0, so it will become false. तो लूप वहां पे ब्रेक हो जाएगा. Okay, so this is how this question will be done.
सर यहाँ पे जो आप ये स्टेटस जीरो ले रहे हो,
Sorry Tanay,
हाँ सर मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे जो फिर स्टेटस आप जीरो ले रहे हो वाइल के साथ,
I am not able to hear you properly Tanay.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना सर कि जैसे कि यहाँ पे आप फिर स्टेटस ले रहे हो ना जीरो,
हाँ
तो मतलब ये जब तक तब तक ये मतलब ये डेटा को फेच करेगा जब तक वो जीरो ना आए. अगर मुझे अगर
नहीं,
डेटा अगर
इसका
ऊपर
मतलब
से
ये है फैच
टॉप
स्टेटस क्या
टेन
करता है
चाहिए.
तने, लिसन,
हाँ,
फैच स्टेटस
हाँ.
क्या करता है, जब तक रो में डेटा प्रेजेंट है ना तब तक इट विल
हम्म,
रिटर्न मी 0 इन द फैच स्टेटस की वैल्यू क्या आएगी, 0 आएगी यहाँ पे. यहाँ पे 0 वैल्यू आएगी तो 0 इक्वल टू 0 मतलब क्या हुआ, ट्रू, तो वो उस रो को प्रिंट कर देगा.
अगर सर मैं मुझे मतलब कि ऊपर से 10 रो चाहिए तो मैं एब्सोल्यूट का यूज करूंगा.
ऊपर से क्या चाहिए,
मतलब 10 रो केवल चाहिए तो एब्सोल्यूट 10 लगाऊंगा तो वहां से भी आ जाएगा ना, फिर 10 रो आएगा.
तो यू वांट 3 रोज फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट.
हाँ हाँ.
Okay,
तो
so for that you can what you can do, you can say first then relative 1 and relative 2 साथ में execute कर सकते हो ना, scroll cursor you can use for that. So if I execute this, let's say what I want to start and fetch to -1 also from that. You can
इसको
put
मैं
that
स्टोर
conditions also.
अगर हाँ ये मतलब पुट कर सकता, अगर मैं चाहूँ तो इसको मतलब स्टोर कर सकता हूँ आईडी अमाउंट के अकॉर्डिंगली.
ये क्लोज हो गया, ये वाला क्लोज करना था. Okay, now tell me what is the question ideally, मतलब आपकी ना आवाज साफ नहीं आ रही है, it's very low.
जैसे कि अभी जा रही है आवाज.
Not loud enough, I don't know, let me check what is the issue. Second. बोलो क्या क्वेश्चन है.
मैं ये बोल रहा था कि जैसे कि यहाँ पे फेच स्टेटस आपने लगाया जीरो के लिए, अगर मुझे अगर जैसे कि आईडी और अमाउंट के तौर पे मैंने अगर 10 ऊपर से 10 रो को अगर चाहूँ उसमें स्टोर करने के लिए तो वहाँ पे मैं क्या यूज करूँगा.
वहां पे क्या कर सकते हो,
हम्म.
if you
मुझे
just
पूरे
want to
डेटा है उसमें से. और जैसे कि आपने बताया ना वो
हाँ
लूप
हाँ,
वाला कि अगर मैंने लूप में अगर आई को स्टोर कर दिया, अगर 10 दे दिया तो उसको +1 करेंगे तो
he's
9
saying
तक
कि
का
I just
वैल्यू
want to
4.
fetch 3 rows from the top, so उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं.
या 3 रो 5 रो फ्रॉम द टॉप.
In that case maybe there is a global variable I can look for that, उसकी values I can check, और उसके लिए भी कुछ लॉजिक बनाना होगा कि if you want top 3 rows तो कैसे लेके आ सकते हैं कर्सर से.
तो नॉर्मली लाना हो तो सर मैं उससे ला सकता हूँ ना.
हाँ, वो तो टॉप 3 से हो जाएगा ना. सी माय
हाँ
पॉइंट
वो
इज
तो हो.
अल्टीमेटली अगर जो चीजें आप सेलेक्ट क्वेरी या डीएमएल या डीडीएल से बहुत इजीली कर सकते हो विच डू नॉट
हाँ
रिक्वायर दी रो बाय रो प्रोसेसिंग, तो इट इज एडवाइज्ड कि आप कर्सर यूज ना करो, बिकॉज कर्सर इज यूजुअली अवॉइडेड वेयर एवर इट इज पॉसिबल. बिकॉज आप रो बाय रो प्रोसेसिंग कर रहे हो ना, तो इट इज वेरी स्लो इन टर्म्स ऑफ कंप्यूटेशन, आपका प्रोसेसिंग टाइम बहुत ज्यादा इंक्रीज हो जाता है. So it is usually advised for small data sets. अगर let's say data set large है तो only on particular task where the cursor is needed it is applied over there. जो scenarios select queries या DML या DDL कमांड से इजीली सॉल्व हो सकते हैं तो वहां पे कर्सर यूज मत करो. क्लियर डन है.
ओके. ओके सर.
हाँ,
ओके सर डन.
you can use the select queries, select top 3 from table link. ठीक है, but I'll think of some logic कि how you can get the top 3. ठीक है, let me write it in the notepad कि top 3 rows how you can get using the cursor. You also guys work around this. what logic we can apply. Okay. Okay, I'll think through this. Now let me know any doubt till this point. Anyone? Guys, clear with the cursor part? Okay. Next thing that we'll be looking at is triggers. So if I talk about triggers, these are the special kind of stored procedures which are executed automatically. अब जो आप स्टोर्ड प्रोसीजर पहले क्रिएट करते थे उसमें क्या होता था, आपको खुद से एग्जीक्यूट करना पड़ता था, राइट? ये क्या हो गया, खुद ही एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएंगे जब भी कोई पर्टिकुलर इवेंट अकर होगा ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर टेबल और डेटाबेस, राइट? Which are executed automatically whenever any event occurs. Okay. So if I say types of triggers, so we have DML triggers. What are DML triggers? Insert, update, delete. ठीक है, उसमें भी we have over here we have for no, we have not for after triggers, and then we have B part which is instead of triggers. These are fired after insert, update, delete. These are executed before insert, update, delete. Okay. Then the second type of triggers we have is DDL triggers. DDL triggers, which is create, drop, alter. Okay. Clear with the definition part? Let's say if I talk about the DML trigger, ठीक है, मैंने कोई भी रिकॉर्ड किसी टेबल में इंसर्ट किया, तो अगर मैंने उस टेबल पे अपडेट ट्रिगर या इंसर्ट ट्रिगर मैंने वहां पे अप्लाई किया हुआ है, तो इट विल बी ऑटोमेटिकली एग्जीक्यूटेड. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से जब भी रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट होता है तो देयर आर सर्टेन कैलकुलेशंस व्हिच आर टू बी परफॉर्म्ड बिफोर इंसर्टिंग द रिकॉर्ड्स. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप अमाउंट इंसर्ट कर रहे हो तो दैट हैज टू बी क्वांटिटी इनटू प्राइस. ठीक है. सो वो कैलकुलेशन ऑटोमेटिकली पहले हो जाएगी एंड उसके बाद वो रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट होगा. सो दिस इज व्हाट दीज ट्रिगर्स आर. ठीक है. So if I give you an example of this, let's say if we'll talk about DML part, DML triggers. So create trigger, like you create a table, you will create a trigger. Okay. Trigger name. Let's say I'm saying trigger tr underscore insert underscore on which table I want to apply. Do I have any table? Let's say customer, not table order. Let's say sales underscore sales. Okay. I'm applying this on the sales table. And what is the trigger about? Insert. I should say after insert. Okay, this is the trigger name. Now on which table I want to apply? Sales. So I will say sales. After that, you have to define the event. What is the event type? So I will say after insert. Okay. This is the event type. On sales, this is the event type, and I will say after insert is what? Event type. Okay. As, and I will say begin and end. Here I will perform what task, whatever I want in the output. Okay. So I will say यहाँ पे print. For example, I'm doing a very basic trigger over here which says print what? Record is inserted in sales. Okay. let me create this trigger. It is created. Okay, if I show you this on the sales fresh, this is the trigger which is created. ठीक है, अब पहले हम जब स्टोर प्रोसीजर क्रिएट करते थे तो वो एग्जीक्यूट करना होता था, इट विल बी ऑटोमेटिकली एग्जीक्यूटेड इन द बैकएंड. सो कब एग्जीक्यूट होगा? जब मैं कोई रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट करूंगा सेल्स टेबल में. ठीक है, सो इट विल प्रिंट व्हाट रिकॉर्ड इज इंसर्टेड. यहाँ पर मैं कुछ स्टेप्स परफॉर्म करूंगा कैलकुलेशन वगैरह, तो वो भी ऑटोमेटिकली परफॉर्म हो जाएंगी जब भी रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट होगा, आफ्टर द रिकॉर्ड इज इंसर्टेड. सो आई विल से यहाँ पे इंसर्ट इनटू टेबल. What is the table name? Sales and values. Okay, let me just check what all IDs I have in the customer name. $103, let's say. So I'm saying 103, and the sales is 23.45. Okay. I'll execute this. Can you see? Trigger na automatically खुद ही fire हो गया as soon as the record is inserted, right? And it is displaying me the message whatever I wrote inside the begin and end कि मेरे को output में क्या चाहिए, record is inserted in sales. So that is what it means कि these are special kind of stored procedures which are executed automatically whenever any event occurs. अब मेरा event क्या था यहाँ पे? After insert. ठीक है, similarly I can have what after update also. So I can create a trigger over here and on the sales table, but it is I'm making it as after update. Okay, the name and what is the event? After update, or I can say after delete also. So record is updated in sales. Okay, that's so I will create this trigger and execute. Done. Now what I will do, I will update. So I will say update. What do I have in the sales table? Let me check. So I am saying wherever the customer ID is 103, replace it with 10, or replace 105. ठीक है, so I will say update sales, क्योंकि ये ट्रिगर कब फायर होगा? जब मैं सेल्स टेबल में कोई भी अपडेट करूंगा डेटा को. अपडेट सेल्स सेट कस्ट आईडी इक्वल्स टू 105 वेयर ऑर्डर आईडी इक्वल्स टू 202. ठीक है, ट्रिगर ऑटोमेटिकली फायर हो गया फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर टेबल कि रिकॉर्ड इज अपडेटेड इन सेल्स. ठीक है, सिमिलरली यू कैन हैव डिलीट ऑल्सो आफ्टर डिलीट. तो जब भी कोई भी डेटा डिलीट होगा that will be so it will display a message कि this record is deleted, or record is deleted in sales table, whichever table it is. You can even perform your task over here inside begin and end, whatever task you want to perform. Okay. Then so there are two tables, imaginary tables we have. So we have imaginary tables. The first one is deleted and the second one is inserted. ठीक है, so at a particular point of time which records are inserted, those are stored in a temporary in these tables. ठीक है, so what I will do, I will say यहाँ पे print की जगह, so let me alter this trigger. ठीक है, I can alter this trigger. So this is for what? Insert, right? So I will say alter trigger, and instead of print I am saying select star from inserted. ठीक है, these are imaginary tables. I can say कि एक particular point of time पे जो data insert होता है, records insert होते हैं, those will be shown over here कि कौन कौन से record insert हुए हैं. ठीक है, so I am saying select. Now I will execute this command insert वाला. ठीक है, so it is showing me what एक particular point of time में कौन से records insert हुए हैं. So this record is inserted. तो इसमें अब मैसेज डिस्प्ले नहीं कर रहा क्योंकि मैंने यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, सेलेक्ट स्टार, इट विल शो मी द डेटा विच इज इंसर्टेड. ठीक है, सिमिलरली इफ यू वांट टू शो कि कौन से रिकॉर्ड्स डिलीट हुए हैं, यू कैन से सेलेक्ट स्टार फ्रॉम डिलीटेड. एक इमेजिनरी टेबल, दो इमेजिनरी टेबल है यहाँ पे, एक इंसर्टेड है एक डिलीटेड है बाय डिफॉल्ट. दीज आर इमेजिनरी टेबल्स एंड दिस विल शो ओनली द रिकॉर्ड्स एट अ पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, एक साथ जब रिकॉर्ड्स इंसर्ट होते हैं. ठीक है, फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, उस टाइम पे ट्रिगर फायर हो जाएगा. सो दिस इज व्हाट after triggers are. Clear with the after triggers part? आपको यहाँ पे मेंशन करना होगा कि आप ट्रिगर कौन से टेबल के लिए क्रिएट कर रहे हैं और आपका इवेंट टाइप कौन सा है और आपको क्या टास्क परफॉर्म करने हैं, दैट विल बी मेंशनिंग. Yes, it is already present. Yeah, so it is storing the data for temporary purpose at a particular point of time. Guys, clear with the TML after triggers part? Okay. Similarly, we have instead of triggers, ये कब execute होते हैं? Before insert, update or delete. Okay. So let me create a triggers again. Insert वाला ही I'm creating. Okay. I'm saying okay. Let me not say insert. Let me say instead of tr instead underscore instead of underscore I'll say delete. This is the name I'm giving to the trigger. And what is the event type? Instead of delete. Okay. Record is not allowed to delete the records. This is a message I'm displaying for now. Not allowed to delete the record, delete the data in cells. Okay. I will create this. So this trigger is there. If I refresh the triggers, you'll be able to see. Okay, all the triggers. Now let me try to delete a record from the sales table. Okay. So I will say select star from TBL, not TBL, sales. So delete from sales where orders ID equals to 202. That's it. Okay. I'm trying to delete the data from the orders table. Okay. One row affected. It is displaying what? Not allowed to delete the data in sales. I tried to delete one row and it is not letting me delete that. If I check the data, see, it is still there. So these triggers are executed even before inserting, deleting, or updating the data, and they won't let me update, delete, or insert the data. So if you want that kind of functionality, you can use of instead of triggers. ठीक है? तो ये उस task से insert, update, delete से पहले ही execute हो जाते हैं, and they don't let you to delete, update, or insert. Clear with the instead of triggers part? Yeah, let's say if you have inserted 10,000 rows at a particular point of time, so it will display that many number of rows. So for the next time, and let's say after 10 minutes you're inserting 5 rows. So next time it will only show you 5 rows. Yeah, because I have mentioned this, I've created a trigger and I have mentioned it over here. Select star. Okay, what you need to do is whenever a record is inserted, just show me which records are inserted, what data is inserted. Similarly, you have select star from deleted, which will show you which records are deleted. And instead of doesn't let you to insert, update. These are all, you don't have to use this. These are already executed in the backend automatically. You just have to create trigger once for that particular data set and the particular task. What is the particular task? Huh? No, it is basically acting as a, like if you want to have an update on which data is what is the data inserted at a particular point of time. If you want to perform certain calculations, so I can say whenever the data is inserted, जो amount column calculate कर दो, add amount column, and amount column should be quantity into price. So such type of calculations can also be done. So जब भी quantity of price का data insert होगा, it will automatically calculate the amount. ये जो trigger है automatically fire हो जाएगा. You are not allowed. तो ये पहले execute हो जाता है. It won't let you delete, update or insert. So there can be multiple certain tables where the user in a team, some people or some client may try to delete it by mistake. So नहीं होगा. Kind of protection you can say. Okay. Yeah. So guys, clear with the TML part of the triggers? Everyone at the back? Clear? Okay. Now let's talk about the DDL part. ये जो DDL है, these are created on the database and not on the tables. ठीक है? Because create, drop, alter किसको affect कर रहा है? Database on the database. Okay. So I will say यहाँ पे DDL trigger. So it is what? Create. What are DDL triggers we have? So we have create underscore, let's say, table. We have drop underscore table. We have alter underscore table. These are the triggers we are having in the DDL. So I will say create trigger. Let's say trigger name is tr underscore create underscore DBL. Okay. And on, I will say database. It is created on database as begin. And I think it is not as begin, it is for. It is for what? You need to define the event over here. So I will say for what? Create underscore table. I am defining, then I will say यहाँ पे as and begin and end. ठीक है? यहाँ पे what I can say, let's say print table is created. ठीक है? This is what I am defining over here. मैंने क्या किया है? This is my trigger name. कहाँ पे अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ उसको? डेटाबेस पे अप्लाई होगा. जो DDL triggers है वो कहाँ पे अप्लाई होंगे? डेटाबेस पे. So this whatever you have selected over here, it will take it up. ठीक है? What is the event type? This is the event type. यहाँ पे क्या है? Create underscore table is the event type. ठीक है? जैसे वहाँ पे after update, after insert था, यहाँ पे क्या है? For and the create underscore table, drop underscore table, alter underscore table. Let me execute this. Command completed successfully. Let me refresh. यहाँ पे show करेंगे ये. These are database triggers, ना? So it should be in the somewhere. Let me refresh the database. Programmability, and यहाँ पे you have database triggers. ठीक है? So you are able to see now in the database triggers. Now what is the trigger? ये कब fire हो जाएगा? जब भी table create होगी. ठीक है? So let me create a table. I will say create table student, and I am saying student ID as int and age as int only. ठीक है? I'm just creating two columns. So when I execute this, see, trigger अपने आप fire हो गया. The table is created. So if you want to have such things, so that's how you can use these triggers on the database. Similarly, you can have a trigger which will say, if you want to make any changes to the table,
तो ये वो मिसला है command
record is inserted or not inserted. Command completed successfully. तो पहले table create हुई.
नहीं वो कोई ट्रिगर बना हुआ है.
अच्छा, command complete successfully में क्या हुआ? पहले मैंने trigger execute किया था ना. तो
पहले दूसरी कमांड बोला था एग्जीक्यूट कर दो तो एक मिस आ रहा है.
हाँ, command completed successfully. That's also a trigger. That's not a trigger. That's a kind of, I'll say कि code is running perfectly or not. तो यहाँ पे दो चीजें हैं. अगर आपके पास read only view है, which is select statement, तो console में output show करेगा. But जहाँ पे आप permanent change कर रहे हो, वो command completed successfully show करेगा. तो permanent changes कहाँ पे करते हो? Database में. जब database create करते हो, table create करते हो, record insert करते हो, तो ये permanent changes है, right? तो ये command complete successfully is like code is running fine. That can be called as an inbuilt trigger in the server, but not which we have created. But I will not, like, you can link it as a trigger, but that's not exactly a trigger. Okay? So now what I will say, I will create a trigger which is alter table. Sorry. I will create a trigger which is what? Alter table. ठीक है? जब भी मैं कोई alteration perform करूंगा किसी भी table पे, this trigger will be fired. So I will say alter underscore table, and table is altered. ठीक है? And I'll execute this. See, these topics are very vast if we try to go and understand into depth. ठीक है? But you just need to know the basics. because it interview में पूछे जाते हैं कुछ advanced concept, so that you are able to connect with the tech team and the business team. Ultimately, you guys are bridging the gap between the tech team and the business team. So you need to have a knowledge from both the sides, basic at least. So now, whenever I perform any alteration, so I'll say alter table. कोई भी टेबल में कुछ भी परफॉर्म करूंगा, alter table, let's say sales, alter column, कौन से कॉलम से सेल्स में, कस्टमर आईडी इज इंट, ठीक है, तो alter column कस्ट आईडी एंड आई विल से बिग इंट, आई एम चेंजिंग द डेटा टाइप, ठीक है, टेबल इज ऑल्टर, तो ये ट्रिगर अपने आप फायर हो गया। जब भी मैं कोई भी चेंजेस कर रहा हूँ टेबल में, वो ट्रिगर अपने आप फायर हो जाएगा। So these are the use case of triggers. Triggers are basically special kind of stored procedures which are executed automatically in the backend whenever that particular event on that particular table occurs. ठीक है? Any query regarding the data to alter the table, changes in the table. So you can add a column, delete a column, you can change the data type of a column, the data type, big int. Yeah, data type. Any table you alter in this database, so this trigger will be fired. Okay, guys, clear with the triggers part? Any query regarding the triggers part? Clear or not? At the back, online guys, let me know. Guys, any queries? Let me know. Online guys, clear or not till this point? Offline guys, clear? Guys, let me know clear or not with the triggers part. Yeah. Okay. So let's do one thing. It's around 11:05. Let's have a break, and everyone be back by 11:25. Okay. So question 21. List all the products with name that start with CA. Product table. Select star from product. What now? Where? Let me give this as alias name as A. A dot. Product name like CA percent. So I have all the products whose name starts with CA.
Like CHAN or CHN or CHAN, same question.
List all the products that start with CH or CHAN and have one more character. कैसे करेंगे? बताओ, list all products that start with CH or CHN and have one more character. CHA होना चाहिए, CHAN होना चाहिए, उसके बाद सिर्फ एक कैरेक्टर होना चाहिए, करेक्ट? कैसे होगा? अंडरस्कोर, so I can say CHA underscore or A dot product name like CHAL underscore. Done. So I have two products whose names are, who has CHA and one more character, or CHAN and one more character. Okay. Let me execute this. These are the data sets. Now tell me, your manager notices that there are some suppliers without fax numbers. Okay. So he seeks your help to get a list of suppliers with remarks as no fax. जिनका fax number null है, उनका remark क्या देना है? No fax number. For suppliers who do not have fax numbers might be null or blank. ठीक है? Also, important, it might be null or it can be blank. Also, fax number should be displayed for customer with fax numbers. कैसे करेंगे? Supplier table, select star from supplier. Now what? जहां जहां पे फैक्स नंबर नल है या ब्लैंक है, वहां पे क्या आना चाहिए? नो फैक्स नंबर. कैसे करेंगे? गुड. वी कैन यूज केस वन, कंडीशन के बेसिस पे कॉलम, राइट? एंड सेकंड मेथड इज यू कैन यूज अपडेट आल्सो, बट आई वोंट रिकमेंड टू यूज अपडेट बिकॉज आपके पास एक्सेस नहीं होगा अपडेट यूज करने का. अगर करना हो तो कैसे कर सकते हैं? यू कैन से अपडेट सप्लायर सेट फैक्स इक्वल्स टू नो फैक्स नंबर where fax is null, or it can be blank also. So I can say length of fax equals to 0. This is the condition. ठीक है? So ये वाला हो गया एक. Now case 1 से कैसे करेंगे? I want what? Case when, उसके बाद क्या आएगी? Condition. Fax is null or length of fax equals to 0. अगर ये कंडीशन ट्रू है तो ट्रू वैल्यू में क्या आना चाहिए? नो फैक्स नंबर. Else what? Length of fax.
The fax number show.
Else I need the fax number only. So fax and as fax underscore, let's say updated. ठीक है? जहां जहां पे फैक्स नंबर नल या ब्लैंक था वहां पे क्या शो हो गया? नो फैक्स नंबर. ठीक है? So 23 is done. Then we have 24. 24th is let me execute. It's saying list all orders. So definitely I need order table. Their order dates. Order date है यहाँ पे. Product names. Product names नहीं है, तो I need product table to get the product names. Quantities and prices. So quantity के लिए I need this order item table. So I need these three tables. So join. So let's say first table I'm selecting as select start from orders table as a. What type of join? Of product table with orders table? Left or inner? Anything will work in this case because जो भी orders होंगे वो products available होंगे वहाँ पे. It may happen कि product tables में सारे products order table में present now. So I will say inner or left, anything will work. Product as be on a dot ID, which is order ID. It's not order ID. A dot. I don't have product ID. So cannot merge it with product table directly. So what's the other table? Order item.
Yes, sir.
I will say order item as B on A dot order ID equals to B dot. My bad. A dot order ID equals to product table. I don't have the order ID, no. So B dot order ID. Then now what?
Inner join.
Inner join with
Product.
product table as C on B dot
Order ID.
product ID equals to C dot ID, which is product ID. Okay. So this is my merged data set. What I need to display? All orders. So A dot star. Along with it,
Quantity is the
order dates with product names. So C dot product name and quantities. So B dot quantity and B dot unit price. This is my output.
order ID.
Is already there.
Okay.
Clear with question 24? 25th. List all customers who have not placed any orders. So which table?
Order ID.
Only order table.
The customer will
So I will say let's say select star from as a which type of join?
Left.
Left. Because I need null values. Left join orders as B because there are customers who have not placed any orders. And I need only those customers who have not placed any orders. Correct? On A dot ID equals to B dot customer ID. When I do that, see, so there are customers who have not placed any orders. There are two customers who have not placed any orders
order ID.
where I can say B dot ID is null. Right? And I just want to show the data from the first table, A dot star. So these are the customer details who have not placed any orders. Clear? Guys, clear with question number 25? Simply left join and then filter the null and just display customer details only. 26th. Read the question first carefully. कैसे करेंगे? What will be the approach for this question?
Sir, एक बार आपको सही करें सर.
And this is how my output should look like. This is my reference output. कैसे होगा? I need two tables, that's clear. I need customer table and supplier table by reading the question only. ठीक है, फिर
Join करोगे सर.
join किसके basis पे करूँगा? See if I see this I can divide into three parts. What is this? Suppliers that have no customers in their country. This is what? Customers that have no suppliers in their country. Customers and suppliers are from the same country. So this question can be break down into three parts. नहीं, sets से नहीं होगा. How will you do it using sets? I need this output. I need this output, no?
Intersection.
So that will give me what? On the basis of what? Common record. What common record? Correct. So I require two tables. I will select star from customer as A. If I do left join with supplier, ठीक है? But if I check join किसके basis पे करूँगा मैं? Value किसके basis पे मैप होनी चाहिए? supplier. Say I need only these two tables, customer and supplier.
First name of contact. Country.
Country. Because I want what customers that are from the same country, supply and customer from the same country, right? तो अगर सेल्फ ज्वाइन में इफ यू रिमेंबर सेल्फ ज्वाइन का एग्जांपल, जहाँ पे अगर मेरे को मैनेजर पता करना था किस एम्प्लॉय के मैनेजर का नाम क्या है, तो आई हैड टू डू मैपिंग ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ आईडी एंड मैनेजर आईडी, राइट? बट यहाँ पे मेरे को मैपिंग कंट्री के बेसिस पे करनी होगी, राइट? सो कंट्री एंड सिटी आई कैन टेक. You can do it only country, but again this is debatable. You have to think of it because country में क्या हो रहा है कि country city में output different आ रहा है. City is more precise. If you want only at country level, so you can have a discussion with the client for that. ठीक है? So let me show you both the scenes over here. So supplier as B. ठीक है? Now let's say if I say select star from customer as A and I am taking A dot country and I am taking, okay, how many rows are there? 91. Let me check how many distinct countries are there. 21. Let me say select star from supplier as B and B dot country. How many rows are there? 29. Distinct will be 9. It will be 16. Right? Let me take country and city over here. 69. There were 91 rows. If I take city over here, it will return me 29. So I can take the combination of this as a primary key. ठीक है? मतलब I am doing this analysis considering, let's say Kawasaki company's showroom is available in Mumbai. ठीक है? Which is a state, but it is present in India. But me living in Gurgaon can't have the access to this. So again, we can have a discussion with the client regarding this. Do you want this at the country level or both country and city level? Okay, let's do it at country level only for now. So this is how you're going to understand the data. So I will say as B on A dot country equals to B dot. So that's why I told you it is not going to always the primary key and the foreign key on the basis of which you will be performing the joins. It depends on your analysis. Okay, now it is saying first add a left join. So that means कि जो suppliers है जो customer table में present नहीं है, जो country customer table में present नहीं है, वो null आएंगी. So this is coming out to be null. This and this, like some of these. So I can say where what? Where B dot any country is null. This is giving me what? Customers who do not have suppliers in their country. Correct? Okay. If I do the left join, if I do the right join instead of left, okay, so it will give me null for the customers, all the rows from the right hand side table plus matching rows from the left hand side table. So there are null rows for the customers. So I will say A dot country is null. So this is giving me what? Suppliers who do not have customers in their country. If I want customers and suppliers from the same country, then what I can do? Inner join directly, where customers and suppliers are from the same country. Clear? Now I need to have all of these in a single table. So I will append all of these. So I will say union, not union, I will say union all, because union क्या करेगा? Sort कर देगा. मेरे को sorting नहीं करनी है ना. I want all of this output at one place and this is at the another place. Not necessary, no? Let's see. So these are what? Customers who do not have suppliers in their country. Then suppliers who do not have customers in their country, and customers and suppliers are from the same country. Okay? Instead of doing this, what you can do is you can also do full join. What it will do? It will map. It will show you all the rows, all the records from both the tables. So it will show you what? It will show you customers who do not have suppliers, suppliers who do not have customers, and customers and suppliers which are from the same country. Yes or no? I can do the full join directly. 195 rows. But problem क्या है कि ये sorted नहीं है जैसे मेरे को आउटपुट में चाहिए. So what I will do, I will say where. If I say where p dot country is null or any column from B, it will give me what? Customers who do not have suppliers in their country. If I make, I can simply copy. And I can say A dot country is null. That means suppliers who do not have customers in their country. And how can I get the common ones? I can simply say where A dot country equals to B dot country. This is will be acting as an inner join. Done. Now you can append all these three. Clear? Guys, clear with question number 26? Okay. Match customers that are from the same city and country. That is, you are asked to give a list of customers that are from the same country and city. Display first name, last name, city, and country of such customers. So see the sample output for your reference. I need to give the combinations where the customers are from the same country. For example, if I live in Gurgaon and if I have data for the customers which are from Gurgaon, so they should be mapped to me. Clear? करस्पॉन्डिंग में नेम आना चाहिए. कैसे करेंगे? मैप किस बेसिस पे होगा? सेल्फ जॉइन होगा. किसके बेसिस पे होगा? कंट्री एंड सिटी. Right? Because if I live in Gurgaon, India, then someone else living in Gurgaon, India, उसका रिकॉर्ड मेरे करस्पॉन्डिंग आना चाहिए. Segregate subsetting. So I just need one table over here, which is customer table.
देखो और फिर उनको ना क्या बोलते हैं उनको वही चीज समझ में आ रही है सेम रैंक्स वाली है उनको ना क्या बोलते हैं कॉलम पे उनको सही में
फिर करना क्यों है? रैंक देने के फिर वो स्टेप इंक्रीज क्यों करना है? एडिशनल स्टेप. Ultimately are coming to the same step. Join वाला. So I will say यहाँ पे inner left right any join you do it will be same. ठीक है? And customer as B on A dot country equals to B dot country and A dot city equals to B dot city. City पे करे तो सिर्फ नहीं. UK may have same city name in different countries. It is a possibility, no? Even in India. Yeah, if you talk about Bikaner, it's in Rajasthan, it's in Haryana also. There is a city Bikaner. So there's a possibility of that. So just not on the basis of this won't work. You have to take the country also. Order by say. तो वैसे ही आ जाएंगे ना मैप होके. सॉर्टिंग करके क्या करूं? मेरे को बताना है ना आपको कि मेरे साथ कौन कौन से कस्टमर्स हैं जो सेम कंट्री से हैं, सिटी से हैं. चलो ये तो हो जाएगा, लेकिन सिर्फ एक ही आएगा ना ऐसा. आई नीड दिस. customer 1, customer 2, ठीक है, corresponding record चाहिए मेरे को यहाँ पर. So if I do this, it will show me this table, right? अब मेरे को आउटपुट पे क्या चाहिए? A dot first name, A dot last name, B dot first name, B dot last name. So let's say, let me name it as FN1. ये फिर से last name होगा ना ये तो, as LN1, then this as FN2, and this as LN2, last name 2, ठीक है. And what else I need? I need A dot country and A dot city. Okay. What is the problem with the data set? ये जो रिकॉर्ड है मारिया का, मेरा रिकॉर्ड मेरे साथ भी रिपीट हो रहा है, which I don't want, right? तो कैसे करेंगे? क्या लॉजिक अप्लाई कर सकते हैं? No, distinct works on the rows, not on the columns. How group by will work over here? Group by will work on a single categorical combination of columns. यहाँ पे rows, यहाँ पे क्या है? यहाँ पे rows are not the replica of each other. यहाँ पे this corresponding, one second, these are replica ना, ये जो corresponding columns है, these are replica. I don't want this replica to repeat. Fn1 equals to Fn2. Let me take one more thing over here. Let me take A dot ID and B dot ID. Okay. Now can you think of any logic? Correct. I can say where A dot ID not equals to B dot ID. So now the names are not repetitive. We have got as per the output. You can remove it from here if not required. ठीक है. Now this is the same as the output. ठीक है. For examples, if वन सेकेंड, अब यहाँ पे एक चीज देखो, आउटपुट हमारा आ गया, बट यहाँ पे क्या है कि ये जो कॉम्बिनेशन रिपीट हो रहा है, ठीक है. फॉर एग्जांपल सर्जियो के साथ ये पैट्रिको रिपीट हो रहा है, तो पैट्रिको के यहाँ पे पैट्रिको के साथ सर्जियो रिपीट हो रहा है. मतलब फॉर ईच कस्टमर इट इज गिविंग यू ऑल, फॉर विद रिस्पेक्टिव टू मी इट इज गिविंग मी ऑल द कस्टमर्स फ्रॉम द सेम सिटी, with respective to other customer also it is giving the all the customers from that setting. So I don't want this to repeat. What I can do in that case? We don't want this. Yeah. हो रहा है. Only same customer is not repeating with itself ना. See, जैसे एना के साथ है एंटोनियो, then एंटोनियो के साथ है एना. What I can do? कौन सा कॉम्बिनेशन? क्या कॉम्बिनेशन? कैन आई से यहाँ पे देखो, ये आईडी एना की क्या है, यहाँ पे 2 और 3 है, ठीक है. और यहाँ पे एंटोनियो की आईडी क्या है? 3 और 2. तो यहाँ से कुछ लॉजिक बना सकता हूँ मैं आईडी के बेसिस पे. See, I can say either A dot ID is less than B dot ID, or I can say A dot ID is greater than B dot ID. ठीक है. Any of the above will work. Any of the two will work. When I say A dot ID is less than B dot ID, ठीक है, तो ये वाला आउटपुट आएगा, बट ये वाला भी आएगा, ठीक है. क्या ये वाला आउटपुट आएगा? फिर नहीं आएगा ना, तो कॉम्बिनेशन रिपीट नहीं हो रहा है. And it is also removing the same customer with itself. ग्रेटर देन करेंगे तो ये वाला पहला कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं आएगा, फिर ये वाला आ जाएगा, ये वाला नहीं आएगा. See, now no combination is repetitive. Clear है? हाँ, that's an additional step I'm telling you. Clear with this? Guys, clear with question 27? Okay, question 28. List all suppliers and customers. Then you need to create a separate column as supplier, अगर वो जो नाम है वो supplier का है, and customer if that name is from a customer table. ठीक है, अगर वो customer है तो. And do not display first name and last name as two fields. Display full name of customer or supplier. Output should look like this. कि अगर कस्टमर है तो कस्टमर लिखा आना चाहिए, सप्लायर है तो सप्लायर लिखा आना चाहिए. क्या अप्रोच फॉलो करेंगे इसके लिए? हाँ, अपेंड करेंगे. क्या अपेंड करेंगे? करेक्ट. पहले वी विल अपेंड कस्टमर टेबल एंड सप्लायर टेबल. कॉलम पहले ऐड नहीं करना है. व्हाई विल यू ऐड अ कॉलम? It is, let's say you have already the data, then how will you do it? You have already the pending data, then how will you do it? The customer and supplier appended data you are already having. Let's understand that. फिर कैसे करेंगे? कैसे मैच बनाएंगे? So let me first select star from supplier as a union all. Select star from customer as. अब यहाँ पे पेंडिंग काम नहीं करेगा क्योंकि सप्लायर एंड नंबर ऑफ कॉलम्स आर नॉट सेम. ठीक है. सो व्हाट वी नीड इज आई नीड कॉन्टैक्ट नेम, सिटी, कंट्री, फोन. ठीक है. सो इन सप्लायर आई नीड व्हाट? ए डॉट कॉन्टैक्ट नेम, देन ए डॉट सिटी, कंट्री, फोन. एंड यहाँ पे भी बी डॉट. सो आई विल से कॉनकैट E dot first name, comma B dot last name, because there is a single name column as first underscore name. What else after that? B dot city, B dot country, and B dot phone. Okay. I have a 20 rows now. What I need to do? How will I identify which one is a customer and which one is a supplier? क्या कॉन्सेप्ट यूज कर सकता हूं मैं? मैच कैसे कराएंगे वही तो पूछ रहा हूँ. मेरे को एक कॉलम एक्स्ट्रा ऐड करना है ना, और वो भी कॉलम किसी टेबल में एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है, तो फिर ज्वाइन का तो कोई सेंस है नहीं यहाँ पे, क्योंकि मेरे को तो वैल्यूज फिल करनी है ना. उसमें उस कॉलम में दो वैल्यूज होंगी, या तो कस्टमर है सप्लायर. कैसे करेंगे? 3%. कैसे? देखो, कस्टमर आप कस्टमर नेम या सप्लायर नेम लिखोगे वैल्यूज में, तो दैट विल बी बेस्ड ऑन सम कंडीशन ना. कॉलम अगर डेराइव करना है बेस्ड ऑन कंडीशन तो क्या यूज करेंगे? केस स्टेटमेंट. व्हेन यू वांट टू डेराइव अ कॉलम बेस्ड ऑन कंडीशन, व्हाट विल यू यूज? केस स्टेटमेंट. हमने कैटेगोरिकल केस में भी क्या था कि जब लेबलिंग करनी होती है तो आई कैन यूज केस स्टेटमेंट. सो उसके लिए पहले तो आई नीड टू डिक्लेयर दिस एज अ टेबल. इनलाइन सब क्वेरी, सेलेक्ट स्टार फ्रॉम एज. ठीक है. स्टार कॉमा एंटर. केस व्हेन. व्हाट इज द कंडीशन? E dot. What is the, let's say contact name. Contact name क्या क्या होना चाहिए? How will I identify कि contact name customer क्या है कि supplier का है? Correct. In what? let's say मैं customer ले लेता हूँ. ठीक है, या supplier ले लेता हूँ. चलो,
जैसा फ्रेमिंग अंदर वैसे फ्रेमिंग बाहर कर सकते हैं।
इन क्या क्या लिखूं यहाँ पे?
टेबल का नाम
टेबल का नाम लिखूंगा मैं। इनके अंदर क्या आती है? व्हाट डू यू राइट इनसाइड इन? मल्टीपल वैल्यूज। हाउ यू कैन गेट द मल्टीपल वैल्यूज डायनेमिकली? Select subquery inside the select statement.
सेलेक्ट कॉन्टैक्ट फ्रॉम
Correct. Select, let's start from supplier, and I can say contact name. अगर वो present है, then what should be the output? Then it is a supplier. Else it is what? Customer. And as I am giving the name to the column as type. ठीक है? See, wherever it is supplier, it is supplier. Otherwise, it's a customer. So यहाँ पे we have used ordinary subquery, inline subquery, case statement to perform this particular analysis. Clear? Guys, clear with question 28? Okay. क्या कॉलम क्या ऐड किया?
केस में लेबल केस में अपना लेबल
केस में जब सेलेक्ट में मैं कोई भी स्टेटमेंट लिख रहा हूँ तो आई एम टेकिंग इट एज अ न्यू कॉलम, डायरेक्ट कॉलम, एंड आई हैव गिवन द नेम एज व्हाट? ये एक सिंगल कॉलम है ना, एंड दीज आर रेस्ट ऑफ द कॉलम्स. Create a copy of orders table. In this copy table, now add a column city of type varchar 40. Object this city column using the city info and customer table. How can I create a copy? Select star into orders underscore copy from orders. ठीक है? 830 rows affected. So I will say select star from orders copy. I need to add a column of city. City of type varchar, correct? So how can I add a column? Case one. Alter table orders copy. Add column name is what? City. Data type is varchar 40. ठीक है? Now update the city column using the city info and customer table. So what you have to do is you have to check the customer ID in the customer table, which customer ID belongs to which city. So I can say update orders copy set city equals to subquery select city from customer. So if I say select city from customer, what it will give me? Yes, okay. I can say यहाँ पे distinct. How many cities are there as such? 69. Where what? Instead of updating one by one, I can say where what?
कस्टमर
Customer equals to ID. क्योंकि customer table में it is ID and city table में it is, so orders में it is customer ID, right? When I do that, it is saying 0 rows affected.
सिटी सिटी पे एरर ऑर्डर्स कॉपी डॉट सिटी लिखो इसको कॉपी डॉट सिटी
Not showing a column.
फिर आपने वो डेटाबेस रिफ्रेश किया था
It doesn't matter, but let me do that.
आपको सीक्वेंस का थोड़ा बड़ी पता है
It is showing city. Or I should select city. It's not recognizing it.
जैसे हमें बंद करके वो था
Just 2 minutes.
तो वही पार्ट
Still 0 was affected. अच्छा ये यहाँ पे नहीं होगा. It will be over here. यहाँ पे I can try. I can say where. Done. 830 was affected. If I check it now, it's updated. Okay. So this is how you can update this in a single go. Clear? Question number 30. Yeah. So this is the question. So you need to get the last order ID and the order date, the last order that was shipped to Paris. ठीक है? Paris का क्या चाहिए? Last order ID and last order date. ठीक है? और with this information मेरे को वो order date भी चाहिए. Like what was the last order excluding the cities. ठीक है? I don't want to see the last order date with respect to city now. मेरे को overall what was the last order date. I want that at the overall level. कि उस data set की orders data set की what was the last order date irrespective of the city. ठीक है? And then I want to know the difference between the last overall order date and the last order date of the Paris. Yeah. So this is the sample output. This is my last order ID for Paris, and this is the last order date for the Paris. Yeah, and this is the last order date irrespective of the city. So it can be of any city, but this is the overall last order date. There's no order placed after this date. Okay, and I want to know the difference between these two, which is this. कैसे करेंगे? पहले ये दोनों लेके आएंगे। कैसे लेके आएंगे ये दोनों? First, I can filter the data for the Paris in the select query, and then I can take the max of ID and the max of date, which will give me the last order date. So let me write it over here. Select star. अच्छा, पहले I need to decide कि which tables I need. Orders table and customer table, because I need to have the details of the city. City I do not have in the orders table. Select star from orders. Why I have made changes in that now, so I don't want to use it. Orders as A. Inner or left join, anything will work. Customers as B on A dot ID. Customer ID equals to B dot ID. Okay. Now what I need in the output? This is my what? Order ID, and this is the customer ID. Correct? मेरे को क्या चाहिए? I want the last order ID. So I will say select star max of A dot ID as last, or I can say as ID. ठीक है? उसके बाद क्या चाहिए मेरे को? Max of A dot order date as last Paris order. ठीक है?
Paris order date और आपने where condition पे लगाया Paris.
Where B dot city equals to Paris. तो क्या देगा मेरे को? Same 796 and 2014. So I have the last order date of the Paris and the last order ID. Correct? Now I need the, along with this, I need what? Overall last order date. So how can I get the overall last order date? ऑर्डर टेबल से मैक्स निकाल लो। कैसे निकालेंगे? तो फिर सिटी के निकालेगा ना फिल्टर करके। कैसे निकालेंगे विदाउट सिटी? तो सिटी फिल्टर करेगा ना, सेलेक्ट तो बाद में एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है। तो कैसे निकालेंगे, वही तो पूछ रहा हूँ कि टेबल से मैक्स कैसे निकलेगी? ये मैक्स तो बाइफरकेट हो रहा है ना पेरिस के बेसिस पे, तो फिर वो पेरिस वाला नहीं आएगा यहाँ पे। सब क्वेरी लिखेंगे, गुड। तो इन अ स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट, इन अ पैरेंथेसिस आई विल राइट अ सब क्वेरी। सब क्वेरी इसको अफेक्ट नहीं करेगा। तो this is ordinary in the select statement. Overall I will select max of let's say max from orders, and here I will take what's the order date as last date, let's say. Okay, so this will return me a single value which is not affecting the, which is irrespective of cities. So this is a subquery which I have written. Got it? Now I need to take the difference. So can I take the difference over here in the select statement? I can, but it will be complex. Better है कि आप इसको टेबल डिक्लेयर कर दो एंड देन जस्ट सब्ट्रैक्ट डेट डिफ का लास्ट डेट माइनस लास्ट प्राइस ऑर्डर। ठीक है? और इफ यू डोंट वांट टू डू दैट, इफ यू वांट टू डू द सेम क्वेरी, यू कैन से डेट डिफ, then the, let's say, new query, select date diff interval starting date and end date. ठीक है? इंटरवल क्या चाहिए? डे का चाहिए। व्हाट्स माय स्टार्ट डेट? मैक्स ऑफ ऑर्डर डेट। व्हाट्स माय एंड डेट? दिस क्वेरी इज माय एंड डेट as day underscore diff. Or what you can do is, instead of this, you can basically declare this as a table, and then after that, in the outer query, you can use date diff, and the starting date will be what? Last Paris order, and date will be last date. You can simply give the column names. Until it is not a sub query, it is getting affected by the filters. Guys, clear with question 30? नहीं, कैसे दोगे लिस्ट नेम? ये कॉलम्स डिफाइंड ही नहीं है ना. Clear with question 30? 31st. How can I find the customers who do not have suppliers? But this time, I have to use a subquery, not joins.
Open.
How can I find the customers who do not have suppliers? I want the customer countries who do not have suppliers. Just the countries चाहिए मेरे. कैसे करेंगे? So I will say select star from customer as a. And I need what country only? And I need it distinct. ठीक है? This is giving me distinct customer countries. ठीक है? Where what I want to find those countries which are not present in the supplier table. Correct? So I will say what? That, so if I find the countries which are not there in the supplier table, so that means ki those countries do not have suppliers. So how can I find that using subqueries? A dot country not in select star from suppliers as B dot country, and I can say distinct. So there are 9 countries who do not have suppliers. Clear? Guys, clear with question 31? I can even do it using sets also. A minus B. Over here, over here also you have to use subqueries. Okay, so it would suppose a company would like to do targeted marketing where it would contact customers in the country with the fewest number of orders. Okay, it is hoped that this targeted marketing will increase the overall sales in the targeted country. You are asked to write a query to get all details of such customers from top 5 countries with fewest number of orders.
Order ID. Yes,
तो
sir.
क्या करना है?
पहले select statement. Order ID.
I need to find the customers from the top 5 countries who are having the fewest number of orders. Right? तो सब क्वेरी में क्या आएगा?
सब कुछ इन top 5 country.
टॉप 5 कंट्रीज आएंगी.
और order table से हम ना customer ID वाले
Correct.
वाले ascending बना.
So I can say select star from orders as A, and first I will find let's say customer orders of all the customers. A dot customer ID, and I can take count of A dot ID, which is count underscore orders. So I need to group by customer ID. So this will give me order count of all customers.
Ascending बना.
ठीक है, let it be order by count underscore orders ascending by default. Okay.
Customer.
Now among these all the customers, I need to find only those customers which are from the top 5 countries. ठीक है? So top 5 countries से कैसे? Subquery where A dot customer ID in, I will say select star from orders. Okay, I need top 5 countries ना.
Top 5 star where condition.
So I should say where, यहाँ पे फिर join करना पड़ेगा मेरे को because I need countries, top 5 countries. So I will say inner join
तो customer ID से नहीं होता है.
customers as B on A dot customer ID equals to B dot ID. Yeah.
Select में अगर हम country लेते हैं कंट्रीज ले लें तो वो बाइफरकेट हो जाएंगे पहले कस्टमर आईडी के हिसाब से कंट्रीज और उनके नंबर।
हर एक कस्टमर के हिसाब से नहीं करना ना, हर एक कंट्री के हिसाब से बाइफरकेट नहीं करना मुझे।
तो अपना हम हमारे ऑर्डर टेबल में कस्टमर आईडी है, हम अगर उसको सब क्वेरी में ले लेंगे तो वो अपने आप चेंज नहीं कर देगा अगर टॉप राइट ले लेंगे।
फिर से बोलो।
मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर हम कस्टमर फर्स्ट वाले सेलेक्ट स्टेटमेंट में कंट्रीज में ले लें एंड ना जॉइन ना लगा
ग्रुप बाय हो जाएगा ना कंट्री लेवल पे। मेरे को कंट्री क्वेश्चन पढ़ो क्या कह रहा है। टॉप 5 कंट्री में से फ्यूएस्ट नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स चाहिए, हर एक कंट्री में से नहीं चाहिए। टॉप 5 में से क्या पता 2 कंट्री में से सारे फ्यूएस्ट नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स आ रहे हो। If I want the fewest number of orders from each country, then I will do that. So select are from orders as A, again inner join customer as B on A dot customer ID equals to B dot ID. Okay. I need what? Top 5 countries. So A dot country, sorry, B dot country, and I cannot have multiple columns in the subquery. So I will say group by A B dot country, order by sum of B dot total amount A dot, sorry, total amount descending. So this will give me what?
डिसेंडिंग में वो सारी कंट्रीज
Top 5. It will give me the top 5 countries based on the sales. These are the top 5 countries. Now it will filter the data for the top 5 countries and will group by customer ID and then done. USA to data type dining in. और जहाँ पे customer ID है ना, it will be country, not A dot country, B dot country in top 5 done. So now I have only those customers count or those customers order count which are from the top 5 countries. ठीक है, अब इसमें मेरे को let's say I'm taking the cutoff as 7. So now I can say having count of ID, I mean having पहले आएगा,
ऑर्डर वाले को जाएगा
पहले आएगा having count of ID less than equals to let's say 7, whatever cutoff I have decided. So let's say these are the customers, there are 20 customers from the top 5 countries.
एवरेज
What average?
having a count of उनके साथ less than equal to average of count of orders तो अपने आप ये कट ऑफ मान लें क्योंकि हमें कट ऑफ तो बताया नहीं क्लाइंट ने
So average will be inflated now based on the customers who have taken the
based on the count of the ID
below average will give a lot of customers. So I just don't want average customers. I want on the lower side.
less than but equal
Customers with the orders on the lower side.
okay the zero किसके
Yeah. ठीक है. So these are the customers with the fewest number of orders from the top 5 countries. So we have used the concept of subquery over here. ठीक है, पहले it filtered the data for the top 5 countries and then performed the calculations on top of it.
सर हम मैंने जो फर्स्ट अप्रोच बताई थी आपको कंट्रीज वाला अगर मैं फर्स्ट सेलेक्ट करता तो वो बाय कंट्री वाइज वो बाइफरकेट कर देता कस्टमर वाइज बाइफरकेट
उसके लिए जो आप कह रहे हो विंडो फंक्शन यूज होगा.
रैंक देखे
हाँ,
बट वो भी वो
ग्रुप बाय से नहीं होगा.
बट वो विंडो फंक्शन वाला कौन सी टेंशन है कि सबको इक्वल नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स
Partition by country,
हाँ.
order by you can say count underscore orders. कैसे करोगे? विंडो फंक्शन से करोगे तो वो, लेकिन आप हर एक उसका देगा ना. सो इट विल बी व्हाट,
देगा हर कंट्री का काउंट की तरफ से ऑर्डर नहीं
हर कंट्री का रैंक देगा ना.
हाँ वो हर कंट्री का तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट पे लगाओगे तो वो सारे अलग
तो उसके लिए पहले आपको क्या करना होगा? उसके लिए पहले आपको डेटा प्रिपेयर करना होगा. सो यू नीड टू फर्स्ट ग्रुप बाय कंट्री एंड कस्टमर आईडी. ठीक है, एंड गेट द टोटल काउंट. इनलाइन क्वेरी लगाओ, इसको टेबल डिक्लेयर करो. उस इनलाइन क्वेरी के अंदर आप विंडो फंक्शन अप्लाई करो रैंक. Then it will make sense. Then you can say where rank less than equals to 5. ठीक है? Guys, clear with question number 32? 33. It is saying, let's say you want to report of all distinct order IDs. Output में क्या चाहिए? Order IDs चाहिए जो कि distinct होगी. ठीक है? कौन से ऑर्डर आईडीज चाहिए?
10%.
Who have not purchased in a single transaction more than 10% of the average quantity sold for a given product. Let's say कोई प्रोडक्ट है, उसकी जो टोटल सेल्स है, टोटल जो क्वांटिटी का काउंट है वो 10 है, ठीक है। अब एक सिंगल ट्रांजेक्शन में 10 का 10% कितना हुआ? 1। अब किसी पर्टिकुलर ट्रांजेक्शन में किसी ने भी उससे कम लिया है क्वांटिटी उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट का, तो आई जस्ट वांट दैट ऑर्डर आईडी, ठीक है। तो आई वांट टू डू दिस फॉर ईच प्रोडक्ट, ठीक है। सो हाउ कैन आई गेट दिस आउटपुट? लेट्स से पहले मैं सारी डिस्टिंक्ट ऑर्डर आईडीज बता देता हूँ, ठीक है। सो आई विल से सेलेक्ट स्टार फ्रॉम ऑर्डर्स as a, and I need a dot id. I can make it, okay, it is always distinct anyway, right? It is, let me check it is distinct or not, but it should be distinct. Yeah, it is distinct, right? Okay, now what I want,
Customer did not purchase more than 10% of it.
so let's say star, let me make it star, not id. Okay, this is my orders data. अगर मेरे को पता करना है कि किस ऑर्डर में, ऑर्डर आईडी में बेसिकली इन विच ऑर्डर द कस्टमर हैज नॉट परचेज्ड मोर देन 10% ऑफ द टोटल क्वांटिटी सोल्ड फॉर अ गिवन प्रोडक्ट, उसके लिए पहले मेरे को 10% तो फाइंड करना पड़ेगा ना टोटल क्वांटिटी का फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट। तो उसके लिए एक सेपरेट क्वेरी लिखूंगा मैं। सो विल सेलेक्ट स्टार फ्रॉम ऑर्डर्स, so do I have order id, I have customer id, right, as a, so I will say यहाँ पे a dot, यहाँ पे I do not have the product id,
Other items, sir, वो नेट वो प्रोडक्ट आईडी वाले के साथ
यहाँ पे प्रोडक्ट आईडी चाहिए होगा ना,
ज्वाइन कर दो, फिर उसका ना एवरेज निकालो टोटल अमाउंट।
यहाँ पे प्रोडक्ट आईडी तो है ही नहीं, so I need to join it with order item as b on a dot id equals to b dot order id. So if I join it with order item, now I have product id. So I have to, now I can join order item with the product table. So I can say inner join product as c on b dot id equals to, sorry, b dot product id equals to c dot id, okay. So this is my required data. I need to find what? A dot product id, कहाँ पे है? C dot product id, comma, as let's say prod, comma, I need what? Sum of quantity, which is b dot quantity, as total 10% of total चाहिए ना मेरे को, so 10 underscore PERC total underscore quantity, 10% of total quantity. Okay, so if I just do this, I need to group by c dot id. I cannot use digits in the starting. C dot id. This is giving me what?
क्वांटिटी का सम
हर प्रोडक्ट का टोटल क्वांटिटी दे रहा है, कितना सोल्ड आउट हुआ है। अब इसका 10% निकालेंगे, तो आई कैन से व्हाट इज द टोटल क्वांटिटी इनटू 0.1 विल गिव मी द 10%। डन, ओके। सो आई कैन बेसिकली सिंपली राउंड दिस अप, क्योंकि क्वांटिटी कोई आधी तो होती नहीं है। सो आई से राउंड टू लेट्स से 0 डेसिमल प्लेसेस, सो अकॉर्डिंगली इट विल राउंड अप और डाउन। ठीक है। नाउ व्हाट आई नीड टू डू, हाउ कैन आई फिल्टर दोज कस्टमर्स जिन्होंने, जैसे किसी कस्टमर ने प्रोडक्ट आईडी प्रोडक्ट 23 लिया है, ठीक है। सो इफ ही हैज नॉट बॉट मोर देन 58 क्वांटिटीज ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट इन अ सिंगल ट्रांजैक्शन और इन अ सिंगल ऑर्डर, तो मेरे को वो ऑर्डर आईडी फिल्टर करनी है, ठीक है।
इस वाले को पूरे को सब
सो व्हाट आई कैन डू इज ऑर्डर्स, देन आई कैन से इनर जॉइन दिस। If I inner join this, I will have the quantity के साथ what will I have? I will have the 10% also.
That's the
As the on A dot I need to merge this also. Inner join order item as B on A dot
तो B को अपने index पे click करेंगे.
कहाँ पे? That's a separate query. On B dot A dot order ID equals to B dot order ID. Inner join product as C on B dot product ID equals to C dot ID. Okay. Now I can join on what? I can say C dot
Product
ID equals to D dot product ID. When I do this, for each product, it will return me what? I will have this column. 10% of the total quantity. अब मेरे को total quantity किस basis पे चाहिए? For each product, for each customer in a single order, right? So यहाँ पे क्या आएगा? A dot ID, comma, what else? A dot ID तो क्या हो गया? Order ID. Then B dot. So यहाँ पे customer तो है नहीं ना? A dot customer ID आ जाएगा. क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे?
सर वो
अच्छा फ्रॉम नहीं है, फ्रॉम हट गया था ना. A dot ID, then A dot customer ID, then A dot sorry C dot product ID. So ये hierarchy important है यहाँ पे, ठीक है? It won't be product ID and then
थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चन में गलत कर रहा है. सर आपने जब वो more than 10% of average quantity सोल्ड लिखवाया,
हाँ
तो वो हमने एवरेज तो लिया ही, हमने तो डायरेक्टली सिर्फ सम लिया है, हमने तो सबका 10% लिया.
more than 10%.
हाँ
अच्छा average quantity.
वही तो.
Okay, so take it average. ठीक है? So this will be the average. Right? Now it's correct. ठीक है? Average यहाँ पे average आएगा. So this is तो ये hierarchy important है यहाँ पे कि पहले order ID आएगी. In that order,
उनसे रिलेटेड कस्टमर
which customer, so either you can take, हमें क्या डिस्प्ले करना, ऑर्डर आईडी डिस्प्ले करनी है ना. ठीक है, इन सिंगल ऑर्डर आई कैन इट कैन वर्क विद ऑर्डर आईडी एंड जस्ट प्रोडक्ट आईडी आल्सो, क्योंकि एक ऑर्डर में एक ही तो कस्टमर प्लेस करेगा ना ऑर्डर. ठीक है, सो वन ऑर्डर कैन हैव मल्टीपल प्रोडक्ट्स एंड इन दैट इन सिंगल ऑर्डर हर एक प्रोडक्ट का जो क्वांटिटी है वो 10 से ज्यादा, इन विच ऑर्डर आईडी इट इज लेस देन 10%. सो यहाँ पे क्या आएगा? ग्रुप बाय A dot which is order ID and C dot ID which is product ID. और यहाँ पे एक और चीज आएगी ना, which is what? Sum of C not B dot quantity as total quantity. ठीक है?
सर वो सम को उसी लाइन पे लिखो, क्वेरी पढ़ना समझ जाएगा.
Wait a second. Yeah. Now this query is giving me what? It is giving me all the order IDs and their total quantity for each product. Correct? अब मेरे को क्या पता करना है? Where, sorry, having कहाँ पे, in which order IDs the total quantity of a particular product is less than 10% of what? So T dot percent 10% total quantity, or I should say average. ठीक है, सो अभी कितनी रोज है? 2155. ठीक है, व्हेन आई फिल्टर क्या हो गया?
सर उसको कॉलम को
इट इज इनअप्रोप्रिएट ना.
वो आपने उसका एलियास नेम लिख दिया, उसको राउंड एवरेज लिखा.
नहीं, आई हैव गिवन द, अच्छा हैविंग में यूज नहीं कर सकता ना मैं,
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ.
सो आई कैन टेक दिस. because this is not a sub query. This is a basically a table only, I can say, na? Yeah. Nothing. What is the issue over here? Okay, what I can do is simply, अगर मैं ये वाला part हटा देता हूँ, let's say, ठीक है? And I remove this part as well. This will part also be removed. तो ये क्या दे रहा है मेरे को यहाँ पे? It is giving me what? For each order, for each product, what is the total quantity, correct? और ये table क्या दे रहा है? What is the 10% of the average of each product ID? Now I can declare this as a table. I can declare this as a table.
इसको टेबल डिक्लेयर क्यों करता है? जैसे इनर जो नीचे ले लेते हैं।
नहीं, वो फिर इस select query के साथ होगा ना, वो aggregation के ऊपर नहीं होगा.
हाँ, ठीक है, वो पूरे
I want to perform the join on the aggregated data, summarized data. ठीक है? I'll say as t, and then I will say inner join as t1, and then I will say on t dot product ID t1 dot product ID. Okay. Now what I need to do? 2155 rows. I need only those order IDs where, अब यहाँ पे aggregation का है. I can say where total t dot total quantity is less than t1 dot 10% of average. So I have 38 rows. ठीक है? But यहाँ पे एक और चीज है. What I wanted is distinct order IDs. So यहाँ पे I can say distinct and t dot order ID. Because यहाँ पे repeat हो रही है ना. One order can have multiple products. So I just need to report the order IDs. And how many order IDs are there out of this? So 25 order IDs are there where the product purchased is less than 10% of the average quantity sold for that particular product. Any doubt in question number 33?
एक बार खुद लिख लो, फिर तो वो कैसे लिखना?
पहले मैंने I found out for each order, for each product, the total quantity. Then I found out the 10% of the average quantity of a particular product. I performed the join, and on the basis of that, after that I performed the filtering. Guys, clear with question 33? Okay. So we have 34, 35, and okay. So what I will do is I'll stop for today. We'll take from 34 onwards in the next class. Guys, any queries till this point? Online guys, any queries till this point?
एक बार आप बस ये ऊपर वाला ये टेस्टिंग वाला है ना, सेलेक्ट से लेकर ग्रुप तक एक बार आप रन कर दो. नहीं, अंदर वाला
Guys, clear or not with question number 33? At the back, clear or not? So if you are not having any query,
प्रोडक्ट आईडी है इसमें ये 1111 तो ये इसने अपने आप ही असेंडिंग हो गया या फिर ऑर्डर आईडी की वजह से
order ID change हो रही है ना?
प्रोडक्ट आईडी की 11 है, ये ऑर्डर आईडी की वजह